All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a debate that is absolutely crucial for anyone building, well, anything new. Should you launch a minimum viable product or should you aim for a minimum lovable product? It's a huge deal, and we're going to break down how you can get that perfect mix of beauty and function to make sure your next thing is a massive success.
Okay, let's just be real for a second with a question that I think hits home for a lot of us. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into a project only for people to be kind of meh about it? They use it, sure, but there's no spark, no real excitement. If you're nodding along right now, then trust me, this explainer is for you.
So this whole thing boils down to two big ideas. The classic MVP, the minimum viable product, and its newer, more emotional cousin, the MLP, or minimum lovable product. The entire difference is staring us right in the face. One is about being viable. It works. It functions. Check the box. The other is about being lovable. It creates a real connection, and we're about to see why that one little letter swap, yeah, it changes absolutely everything.
But hold on. Before we pit them against each other in a big showdown, we've got to understand the one thing they both have in common. Because whether you go for viable or lovable, you're still building what's called a minimum product.
So what on earth is a minimum product? It's actually beautiful in its simplicity. It does one thing, just one core thing, and it does it for one super specific group of people. This focus, this is the bedrock, the secret sauce of a great launch. You're not trying to be everything to everybody. You're trying to be the perfect must-have solution for a very specific somebody.
Let's paint a picture to make this crystal clear. Imagine you want to build a real estate app. Whoa, right? That could mean sales, rentals, property management, insurance. It's a giant, overwhelming idea. But a minimum product, it laser focuses. It would be an app that only helps first-year university students find apartments. That's it. One function, finding a place to live for one audience. New students. See how clean and focused that is?
Okay, so let's bring in our first contender, the classic MVP. You've heard this acronym a million times, I'm sure. Its entire philosophy, its whole reason for being, is built for one thing and one thing only: learning as fast as humanly possible.
So the MVP really blew up thanks to Eric Ries and his book, The Lean Startup. You can think of the whole idea as a science experiment. You have a theory, a hypothesis, right? You think, hey, this group of people has this specific problem, and I bet I can solve it. The MVP is just the fastest, most bare-bones thing you can build to find out if you're actually right. It's all about validation.
And the process is this killer loop. You launch fast, and I mean fast. It doesn't have to be pretty. Perfection is not the goal here, data is. You test your big idea, get real feedback from actual users, and then you iterate. You either make the idea better, or, if you were way off, you pivot, you change direction. It's this relentless, non-stop cycle of learn, change, repeat.
But here's the thing. The world changed. We got flooded with products, apps, and services. And in a super crowded world, just being viable, just working, often isn't enough to get noticed. And this is what gave rise to our second contender, the minimum lovable product. And this quote just nails it perfectly. People are sick and tired of ugly, clunky products. Think about it. Our standards as users are way higher now. We're surrounded by great design, and we've kind of become allergic to things that are frustrating or just plain ugly. A product can't just work anymore. It has to feel good to use.
So an MLP is a totally different beast. Yeah, it's still a minimal first version, but it's engineered from the very beginning to be loved. You're not just testing if it works, you're creating an experience. This is the move you make when you're not inventing a whole new category, but you're tackling an old problem in a way that is just better, more delightful, more human.
The whole game plan just shifts from function to feeling. Look at these points. They're all about emotion, right? Delight, superior experience, winning hearts. An MLP isn't just trying to solve a problem. It's trying to win a user's loyalty and their affection from the very first time they use it, by making the whole thing feel effortless and beautiful.
Okay, you know the players. Now it's time for the main event. Let's put these two philosophies head to head. You got to think of this as choosing the right weapon for the specific battle you're about to fight.
Let's put this side by side, because it makes it super clear. With an MVP, your main goal is to learn. You're basically asking, am I even on the right track here? And you're ready to pivot if the answer is no. This makes sense when your knowledge of the market is low and you need to validate everything. Now, contrast that with an MLP. Here, the goal is to delight and retain users. You're not asking questions, you're making a statement. You already have high confidence that you know the audience, so your core focus is on user experience and, well, lovability.
Now, this is huge. No matter which path you pick, MVP or MLP, there are landmines waiting for you. Sticking to the minimum part of the name is way harder than it sounds. And there's one big trap that sinks more new products than just about anything else.
Yep, feature creep. It's that sneaky little voice in your head that says, you know what would be really cool if we just added this one more thing, and then another, and another. You start with this beautifully simple idea, and before you know it, it's this bloated, complicated monster. Feature creep is the ultimate enemy of minimum.
And the fallout from this is a total disaster, like a domino effect. More features mean higher costs. That leads to a delayed launch. That delay just drains all the excitement and energy from your team. And then, when you finally get it out the door, the product is so confusing that nobody gets it anyway. It's a vicious cycle.
So, how do you fight it? You have to be absolutely ruthless about what you say no to. Seriously, you probably don't need a crazy complicated admin dashboard at launch. You don't need a 10-step push notification system. And you definitely don't need a high-tech customer service platform. You know what works? An email address. Just keep it simple and focus on the core value.
Okay, we've laid it all out. The what, the why, the what not to do. Now for the most important part. Let's figure out which path is the right one for you and your project.
Here's the cheat sheet. It's actually pretty straightforward. You should choose the MVP path if you're a pioneer exploring a brand new, unknown market. Your number one job is to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible, and be ready to pivot. But you should choose the MLP path if you're walking into a known market, a place where people already have other options. Here, your mission isn't to learn, it's to win, by delivering an experience that is just hands down better and more lovable. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. When you're planning that first release, that first version of your big idea, are you just aiming to build something that works? Or are you aiming to build something that your very first users will absolutely, positively fall in love with? Because that choice could be the difference between a product that just exists and one that people can't imagine living without. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.